I'm Kristin Fisher, and we are live in Cleveland for day 3 of the Republican National Convention, and I am joined by Bob Cusack. He is editor-in-chief of The Hill magazine. Thank you so much. Hill newspaper.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And, you know, we want to talk about Donald Trump's kids because, you know, from day one, as soon as we knew that Trump would be you know, the presumptive nominee, and now the nominee, he made such a big fuss about what a prominent role he wanted family and his children to have in this convention. And we're going to hear from 4 of them before it's all over.
Yeah.
But last night we heard from Tiffany Trump, Donald Trump Jr., and I want to start with Tiffany Trump, the 22-year-old. She just graduated from college back in May. She said she was nervous about it. How do you think she did?
I think she was very poised. I can't imagine giving that speech at 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I think the Trump kids are his secret weapons. I mean, Donald Trump has been very successful, obviously. He's gotten to this point. A little bit harder around the edges, though. And the Trump kids are really portraying him in a different light than I think most people have seen, that he's a very good dad. He's very caring. And I think that Ivanka Trump is going to give possibly the speech of the convention. She is so well-spoken. I think you're going to see the Trump kids on the campaign trail, and that is going to be a huge asset and a necessary one for Donald Trump.
You know, Tiffany Trump last night, she was able to do something. I mean, Melania had a very well-received speech, but Tiffany did something last night where she was really able to, you know, provide some concrete anecdotes, things that her father did that she really liked. She talked about how she saved a bunch of her report cards because he had handwritten notes on there, and how he wasn't always focused on the actual letter grade, but was more focused on how the teachers perceived her to be in the classroom. And I'm wondering if you thought that that moment, those kinds of moments, really made a mark.
I think they do, and I think it's interesting that, like, they're being honest. They're not really trying to tell a tale. Like the Trump men have said, listen, when I was a boy, Donald Trump didn't take us in the backyard and throw the ball around. He wasn't that kind of dad. But he gave us advice. He told us not to drink and not to smoke, and the Trump kids have followed that. And I think a lot of people, that resonates with a lot of people, especially independent voters, and he needs to win more independent voters going forward. And that's why I think that it's very, very smart for Republicans to highlight all of the Trump kids.
And so something else that we heard from Donald Trump Jr. last night, not really surprising, but he seemed to do a pretty good job of it, and, you know, really being the attack dog and taking on Hillary Clinton. And he had a line where he said, you know, if Hillary Clinton were elected, she'd be the first president who couldn't pass a basic background check.
Yeah.
How do you think Donald Trump Jr. did?
I think he did very well, and it was both policy focused, went after Hillary Clinton, but in a respectful way, in a policy way. And that's what I think that the Republican Party needs to do. They can't go too far in going after Hillary Clinton. When Donald Trump faces off against Hillary Clinton in the debates, he can't go too far. He's got to attack her, but not really get in her face. And I think the Trump kids, as he said, he wrote every word of that speech. I think it's very important that they do that. They speak from the heart. They don't have professional speechwriters write their speeches. And I think that came across very well last night.
And so we have Eric Trump tonight, Ivanka tomorrow. You think Ivanka is going to have one of the best speeches, but do you think that she'll be able to really help her dad bring in some more women voters, a demographic that he's really struggled with? He
is struggling with that, Kristin. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if you look at single women, which generally go for Democrats, and married women, he's not doing well. That's usually a strong Republican stronghold. So overall, he's got to improve. If he's going to be the next president of the United States, he's going to have to improve those numbers. How does he do that? Well, I don't think there's only so much he can do. And I think Ivanka can do a lot. I think Melania can do a lot. We haven't seen Melania on the campaign trail a lot. Now, obviously, going forward, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think that if he has them on the campaign trail, his chances of winning on November 8th skyrocket.
So let's talk just a little bit about the other big speakers tonight. We've got Indiana Governor Mike Pence speaking. He's the big star of the night, but I know you said you were looking forward to hearing from Ted Cruz.
I think Ted Cruz is the most compelling speaker tonight because it's so rare that you have someone speaking at a convention who has not endorsed the nominee. And of course we know that Cruz and Trump went at it down the stretch, and Cruz basically finished second to Donald Trump. So I think it was kind of gracious for the Trump campaign to say, okay, you can show up at the convention without endorsing him. And the big question is, will Ted Cruz endorse Trump in his speech? There have been indications that he will not. I think it would be smart if he did, because Ted Cruz clearly is going to run for president again. And he's going to need the Trump supporters when he runs. 2020 or 2020, he needs those backings. So the story is he either backs Trump tonight, or the story is he doesn't back him.
And so if Cruz does not back Trump tonight, how does the Trump campaign respond?
That's a great question. Why
What
did
do
you
do?
invite him? Why did you
What
invite
do
him
do?
if he wasn't going to endorse you? And now he could go after Hillary Clinton. But even last night's speeches with Mitch McConnell and the Speaker Paul Ryan, they didn't talk about Trump a lot, but they talked about Trump a little bit. So I think Cruz goes after Hillary Clinton, talks about conservative principles, his campaign. But I think he would be politically smart to back Donald Trump and kind of repay the favor, because the Trump campaign didn't have to have him here. There are indications that the Trump campaign has not seen his speech. So that's why it's so compelling.
And on top of that, you also have two other big rivals from the primary season, Marco Rubio, Scott Walker.
Yeah.
We heard last night House Speaker Paul Ryan didn't talk about Trump a whole lot.
No.
I mean, I think you mentioned him, what, twice?
Twice. Only mentioned Donald Trump by name twice.
And it's his convention.
Yep.
So do you think we can expect sort of the same from Rubio and Walker tonight, or will they be a bit more full-throated in their...
I don't think Rubio is going to be full-throated. He is delivering his speech via video because he decided to run for re-election in the Senate, which helps the Republican chances of holding the Senate. So he's campaigning in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's as much pressure for him to fully endorse Trump. Now, Scott Walker, who at one point was the front runner a long time ago for the Republican race, did not do very well, had a very bad campaign, really cratered in Iowa. He's come around if you're a Trump supporter. He has gone from not supporting Donald Trump to totally getting behind him, it seems like, and taken some heat for that. So I think Walker is going to be gung-ho. And, you know, a lot of these politicians, Kristin, I mean, they just think, what is in my self-interest? Is it to back Trump or not to back Trump? And that's how they make their decision.
Doesn't it seem like forever ago that Walker got out of the race?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
can you
it's
believe it's still this election cycle?
I know, it was like years ago, right? But it was only like roughly a year ago.
So something else I just wanted to chat about, and this is going back to what Tiffany Trump, something in her speech last night. She really went into kind of painting her dad as the billionaire blue-collar businessman. She had this line where she said, you know, he spent his career with the regular Americans. He hung out with the guys on the construction sites pouring concrete and laying the sheetrock, and she said that, you know, we hung out with a lot of those guys as kids. For the people, the Republicans watching this at home, I mean, how are lines like that coming over? How are they reacting to a line like that from a young woman who's clearly had a very privileged life? Yeah,
and you're talking about a billionaire, too.
Yeah.
So, but you have to look at the competition. And it's Hillary Clinton, who has not driven a car since the 1990s. I'm not saying Donald Trump is parallel
Fair
parking.
point. Right.
But he has to appeal. I'm the everyday guy. And basically, if I were rich, if you were rich, you'd be like me. You'd be getting your own helicopters. And I think some people understand that. And that's where you have to connect. That's where Mitt Romney did not connect to the quote-unquote everyday American. And Barack Obama did a better job. I think whoever does a better job of connecting and saying, listen, I know what's going on. I know you're not happy. And that helps the Republicans, honestly. Even though Hillary Clinton's ahead in the polls right now, 7 in 10 Americans think the country is going in the wrong direction. We have the terrorist attacks. Looking at polls, fighting terrorism, Donald Trump has the advantage. So there are a lot of factors that suggest that Trump can come back and win this thing. And, of course, the debates are going to be very important in the fall.
So yesterday, the theme was Make America Work Again. Tonight, the theme is Make America First Again. Last night, the theme, they talked about it, not a ton. Tonight, it sounds like, you know, the speaker lineup is a bit more tailored to that theme. Slightly so. You have the first female commander of the space shuttle, former retired astronaut, to talk about getting us back into space. You also have, you know, a few other speakers to talk to that point, and then Eric Trump. What do you think he's going to talk about to really hit that theme home?
Well, I think that too many people feel, and this is why Trump did very well in the primaries, is that we're helping too many countries, whether it's in security, that we have a lot of people in a lot of different countries, but we're footing the bill. And so America has not been first, the allies have been first. And that's why Trump has been critical on trade deals as well as NATO. Very controversial comments, some of them he's made, but I think it's that's where, that does resonate, I think, with the middle of America, maybe not the Washington Beltway, but making America first. And it's a very simple message. And just like his slogan, Make America Great Again, it's a very good slogan because people remember it. And just like Barack Obama's Hope and Change and Yes We Can. And what is Hillary Clinton's message? We can't recall it. We don't know what it is because it's kind of been all over the map. And I've talked to Democrats who say she needs to have a message like Donald Trump. So this theme that he's going through the convention,
hat.
maybe
her own baseball hat,
she
maybe
could use
not.
a baseball
maybe
hat.
that's a step too far.
But she's got to have some type of bumper sticker thing. John Kerry didn't have it; he lost. Barack Obama had it; he won. Hillary Clinton has yet to have a clear message of why I should go to the polls and elect her. Trump has his reasons, whether you agree with it or not. It's a very simple, but in a lot of ways, simplicity is genius.
All right, Bob Cusack, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Really appreciate it. I know you'll be listening to day 3.
Oh yes, absolutely, and day 4.
And day 4. We're halfway through. Bob, thanks so much. I'm Kristin Fisher for Fox News and FoxNews.com.